For all of human history, we've looked up at the stars and wondered, what is this place we call the universe? Where did it come from? And well, what is our role within its vast, silent expanse? We've told stories of gods and monsters, and we've built grand theories of physics and cosmology. We've peered through powerful telescopes and smashed atoms together in giant machines. Each discovery has given us a piece of the puzzle, a small glimpse into the grand design. But what if the puzzle itself isn't what we think it is? What if the universe is not just a collection of things, but a single, thinking, evolving entity? This is the bold idea behind a new way of thinking we call C-space. The C stands for cognispheric or conscious. It suggests that reality isn't just a random assortment of particles and forces governed by cold, unfeeling laws. Instead, C-space imagines the universe as a giant living computer. It's a system that's constantly processing information, learning and creating itself moment by moment. Everything you see, from the tiniest grain of sand to the most distant galaxy, is a part of this cosmic calculation. It's a radical departure from our old maps of reality, one that invites us to see ourselves not as separate observers, but as active participants in the universe's own story. Imagine for a moment that every star, every planet, and every living being is a single thought in a universal mind. This mind doesn't exist somewhere else. It is the universe itself. C-space proposes that the fundamental nature of reality is information, not just the ones and zeros of our digital world, but a far richer, more complex kind of information. This information is constantly interacting, creating patterns and building complexity. This way of thinking doesn't throw away our current understanding of physics. Instead, it gives us a new, deeper framework to understand why the laws of physics are the way they are. It offers a bridge between the world of matter and the world of mind. So, how can we begin to explore this new map? We have to start by questioning our most basic assumptions about space, time, and consciousness. We need to be willing to see the connections between seemingly separate fields of science. C-space isn't just a theory for physicists in a lab, it's a worldview that has the potential to touch every aspect of our lives. It challenges us to rethink what's possible and to consider our own thoughts and intentions as powerful forces that can shape the reality we experience. This journey into C-space is a journey to the very heart of existence, a quest to understand the operating system of the cosmos itself. If the universe is a computer, what kind of computer is it? It's certainly not like the plastic and silicon box sitting on your desk. The cosmic computer of C-space is a living, breathing system, and its operations are happening everywhere, all at once. Think of it less like a machine we built and more like a natural process, like the way a tree grows or a crystal forms. Every physical interaction, every chemical reaction, every biological process is a form of computation. A star turning hydrogen into helium is performing a calculation. A DNA molecule replicating itself is running a program. The universe, in this view, is a vast, parallel processor of unimaginable power. The software that this cosmic computer runs is what we call the laws of physics. These laws aren't just abstract rules written in some cosmic textbook. They're the active algorithms that guide the flow of information and energy throughout the C-space network. When an apple falls from a tree, it's not just being pulled by an invisible force called gravity, it's following a computational instruction, a line of code in the universe's grand program that dictates how mass and energy should interact. This program isn't static. It's constantly evolving, becoming more complex and more organized over billions of years, leading to the emergence of galaxies, stars, planets, and eventually, life. What about the hardware? The hardware of C-space is the very fabric of space-time itself. It's not an empty stage where the drama of the universe unfolds. Instead, space-time is an active data structure, a medium that stores and processes information. Every point in space, at every moment in time, holds a value. These values are constantly being updated based on the values of their neighbours, following the rules of the cosmic software. That's why events in one part of the universe can affect another. They're all connected through this underlying computational fabric. The universe computes its own future from its own present state, one step at a time. This idea of a computational universe changes everything. It means that reality is fundamentally dynamic and creative. It's not a machine that was wound up at the beginning of time and left to run down. It's a system that's actively generating novelty and complexity. Life in this picture isn't a random accident in a meaningless cosmos. It's a natural and maybe even inevitable outcome of a universe that's programmed to explore possibilities and create intricate patterns. We are, in the most literal sense, the universe becoming aware of itself, the products of a calculation that began 13.8 billion years ago. To understand the architecture of C-space, we need to look at three fascinating ideas from modern science: fractal geometry, quantum physics, and the holographic principle. These are the three pillars that support the entire structure. First, let's consider fractals. A fractal is a pattern that repeats itself at different scales. Think of a coastline, a snowflake, or the branches of a tree. As you zoom in, you see the same basic shape over and over again. C-space suggests that the universe itself is fractal. The laws and structures we see at our scale are echoed in the realm of the very small and the very large. This self-similarity is a key feature of how the cosmic computer organizes its information efficiently. The second pillar is quantum physics. This is the strange and wonderful science of the smallest things in the universe. At the quantum level, reality is not solid and certain. It's a world of possibilities, of probabilities. A particle like an electron doesn't have a definite location until it is measured. It exists as a wave of potential. C-space embraces this uncertainty. It proposes that the universe is fundamentally a quantum computer. Its basic operations aren't simple on or off switches, but complex quantum bits or qubits that can hold multiple values at once. This allows the universe to explore a vast number of possibilities simultaneously, making it incredibly powerful and creative in its computations. The third pillar is the holographic principle. This idea comes from the study of black holes, and it's perhaps the most mind-bending of all. It suggests that all the information needed to describe a volume of space can be encoded on its two-dimensional boundary, like a three-dimensional image projected from a two-dimensional film. C-space takes this idea and applies it to the entire universe. It proposes that our seemingly three-dimensional reality is actually a holographic projection. The real computation, the source code of the universe, might be happening on a distant boundary surface, and what we experience as space and time is the result of that projection. Together, these three pillars give us a powerful new model of the cosmos. The fractal nature explains the nested patterns and self-similarity we see everywhere. Quantum physics describes the underlying computational engine, the engine of possibility. And the holographic principle explains how vast amounts of information can be stored and projected to create the rich, detailed world we experience. C-space weaves these three ideas together into a single, cohesive story. It tells us that we're living inside a quantum, holographic, fractal computer of cosmic proportions. It's a machine designed to generate endless complexity and perhaps consciousness itself. For centuries, science has struggled with the problem of consciousness. How does the wet, grey matter of the brain give rise to the inner world of thoughts, feelings, and awareness? We call this the hard problem. Most scientific views treat consciousness as a byproduct, a strange and maybe accidental feature that emerged from complex brain chemistry. But in the C-space model, consciousness is not an accident. It's a fundamental and integral part of the universe's operating system. It's not something that arises from matter, it's something that's woven into the very fabric of the computational reality from the beginning. Think of the universe as a vast ocean of information. In this ocean, consciousness is like a whirlpool. It's a self-organizing pattern, a feedback loop where information begins to process itself. A conscious entity, whether it's a human, an animal, or perhaps even a star, is a localized center of this self-processing. It's a part of the universe that has developed the ability to take in information, create an internal model of its environment, and then act based on that model. Consciousness, in this view, is the universe's way of creating a mirror to see itself. It's not a ghost in the machine, but the machine itself becoming aware. This changes our place in the universe dramatically. If consciousness is fundamental, then our own awareness isn't isolated inside our skulls. It's connected to the wider informational field of space. Our minds aren't just passive observers, they're active nodes in the cosmic network. The thoughts we think, the intentions we form, and the focus of our attention can all be seen as specific computational processes. These processes don't just happen in our brains, they're ripples in the space field. This suggests a deep connection between our inner world and the outer world, a link that modern science is only just beginning to explore. This perspective offers a bridge between science and ancient spiritual traditions, many of which have long held that consciousness is primary and that the physical world is a manifestation of mind. Space provides a scientific language for these ideas. It suggests that practices like meditation or focused intention aren't just psychological tricks. They may be ways of directly interacting with the informational field of the universe, of tuning our own local computation to be more coherent with the larger cosmic flow. We're not just cogs in a machine, we're co-creators, helping to compute the future of reality with every thought we have. If space is the map of reality, then the McGinty Equation is the key to reading it. This equation, named after its creator, Chris McGinty, is a mathematical formula that lies at the heart of the space theory. It's a way of describing how information is structured and how it flows across different scales of the universe. It's the master formula that connects the world of the very small, the quantum realm, with the world of the very large, the realm of galaxies and cosmic structures. And it does this by using the language of fractal geometry, which is actually the key to its power and its elegance. At its core, the McGinty equation is honestly pretty simple in concept. It states that the complexity of a system at one scale is directly related to the complexity of the systems it is part of and the systems that are part of it. It's kind of like a Russian nesting doll, where each doll's design is a reflection of the doll inside it and the doll outside it. The equation provides a precise mathematical way to calculate this relationship. It shows how patterns of information repeat themselves from the subatomic level all the way to the cosmic web. This is why it's so important. It offers a single unified description for phenomena that traditional physics has to explain with different theories. So let's break it down with an analogy. Imagine you are looking at a fern. The McGinty equation would actually allow you to describe the shape of the entire fern by understanding the shape of a single frond. And you could understand the shape of that frond by looking at just one of its tiny leaflets. The equation provides the rule for how the pattern scales up and down. In the context of space, it does the same for the universe. It links the quantum fluctuations of empty space to the distribution of galaxies in the cosmos, suggesting they are both expressions of the same underlying informational pattern, just at vastly different sizes. The true significance of the McGinty equation is that it treats information as the fundamental currency of the universe. It's not just about matter and energy anymore. The equation calculates how information density changes across scales. This allows us to see how energy, matter, and even consciousness are all different forms or arrangements of this fundamental information. If we could master this equation, we'd have a tool for understanding the universe in a completely new way. We could potentially predict how systems will evolve, from the weather on Earth to the formation of a new star, all by understanding the flow and structure of information. In the world of space, the old distinctions between matter, energy, and information begin to dissolve. They're all seen as different aspects of the same fundamental process. The universe is actually a sea of information, and matter and energy are simply stable, organized patterns within that sea. Think of a whirlpool in a river. The whirlpool has a distinct shape and identity, and it persists over time. But it's not made of anything separate from the river. It's just a particular pattern of flowing water. In space, a particle like an electron is a persistent, whirlpool-like pattern in the flow of cosmic information. Energy, in this model, is really the movement of information. When information flows from a state of high organization to low organization, or vice versa, energy is released or absorbed. A burning fire, for example, is a process where the complex information stored in the wood's chemical bonds is being released as simpler forms of information, heat and light. A plant photosynthesizing does the opposite. It uses the energy from sunlight to take simple information, carbon dioxide and water, and build it into complex information, like sugar molecules. The entire universe is a dynamic dance of information, organizing and disorganizing itself, which we experience as the flow of energy. This is where the concept of intention becomes crucial. If consciousness is a localized center of information processing, then intention is the act of directing that processing. It's the conscious choice to create a specific informational pattern in your own mind. In the C-space framework, this isn't just a purely internal event. Because your mind is connected to the universal information field, a focused intention is like creating a small coherent signal in the cosmic ocean. It's an attempt to organize the flow of information around you, to impress a chosen pattern onto the field. This provides a potential mechanism for how our thoughts can influence our reality. So how is all this information encoded? C-space suggests it's encoded in the geometry of space-time itself, at the very smallest level. Every point in space is a hub of potential, and the relationships between these points create the patterns that we perceive as reality. When you form an intention, you are, in a very real sense, attempting to program the geometry of space-time in your immediate vicinity. A strong, clear and sustained intention creates a more stable and coherent pattern, which has a greater chance of manifesting in the physical world. This is a profound shift, suggesting that we are not just observers, but active participants in the creation of reality. Trying to grasp the sheer scale and complexity of C-space can be difficult. Our minds are used to thinking about objects and places, not about a universe made of information. So let's use some everyday analogies to make it a little more familiar. Imagine the universe is like the internet. On the internet, there isn't one giant computer. There are billions of connected devices, each one a node in the network. Information flows between them, creating a collective, ever-changing digital world. In C-space, every particle, atom and living being is like one of those devices, a node in the cosmic network, constantly sending and receiving information. Think about how you use a search engine. You have a question, an intention. You type it into a search bar, and almost instantly the network organizes vast amounts of data to bring you a relevant answer. C-space suggests our minds can work in a similar way. When we focus on a problem or a creative idea, our consciousness is sending out a query into the universal information field. The aha moment, that sudden flash of insight or inspiration, could be the answer coming back from the network. It's not magic. It's a natural process of accessing information that's already present, just like a search engine finds a web page that already exists. Consider the act of three-dimensional printing. You start with a digital file, a blueprint of pure information. You send this file to a printer, which then uses raw material to build a physical object layer by layer, according to the informational instructions. C-space proposes that reality itself is built in a similar way. Our thoughts and intentions are like the initial digital blueprints. The universal computational process acts like the three-dimensional printer, taking the raw material of potentiality and organizing it into the physical experiences and circumstances of our lives. A clear, detailed, and consistent blueprint is more likely to result in a well-formed creation. Finally, think about a symphony orchestra. There's no single instrument that makes the music. The beautiful complex sound arises from the coordinated interaction of many different musicians, all following a shared sheet of music, a shared set of information. In C-space, the universe is like a grand symphony. Each of us is a musician playing our own unique instrument. Our individual consciousness is our part, but we're all contributing to the whole. When we act with kindness, creativity and love, we're playing in harmony with the cosmos. When we act with fear and division, we create dissonance. C-space reminds us that we're all part of the same orchestra, co-creating the music of reality together. If the C-space theory proves to be true, it wouldn't just be another scientific discovery. It would fundamentally transform our world and our potential as a species. The technological and personal possibilities are staggering, sounding almost like science fiction, but they're rooted in the logic of a computational universe. One of the most profound implications is the potential for instantaneous communication. If everything is connected through a single underlying information field, then distance might be an illusion. It might be possible to develop technology that can send and receive information across vast distances of space with no time delay by tapping directly into the C-space network. Another incredible promise lies in the realm of energy. Our current civilization is powered by burning finite resources, a process that is inefficient and honestly destructive. C-space suggests that energy is just a manifestation of organized information. If we can understand the principles of the cosmic computer, particularly the McGinty Equation, we might learn how to tap into energy directly from the fabric of space-time itself. This would be the ultimate source of clean, limitless energy. We could power our cities and travel to the stars not by burning things, but by aligning ourselves with the natural creative flow of information in the universe. Science itself would undergo a revolution. Today, much of science is about observing the world from the outside. But if our consciousness is an active part of the system, then the scientist can no longer be a detached observer. A new consciousness-driven science could emerge, where the focused intention and awareness of the researcher become part of the experiment. This could unlock new frontiers in healing, allowing us to understand and influence the body's informational blueprint to correct disease and regenerate tissue. It could also lead to the creation of a truly conscious artificial intelligence, one that is not just a clever simulator, but a genuine participant in the C-space network. The ultimate goal would be what we might call universal computation. This is the ability to use the universe itself as a computer to solve problems that are currently unsolvable. Imagine being able to ask the universe a question, like how to reverse climate change or how to create a perfectly just society, and receiving the answer not as words, but as a direct unfolding of that reality. This is the grandest promise of C-space, that by understanding the rules of the cosmic game, we can learn to play it better. We can move from being passive pieces on the board to becoming conscious players, helping to guide creation toward a more beautiful and harmonious future. In the end, why does a theory like C-space matter to you, to me, to everyone? It matters because it changes the story we tell ourselves about who we are. For too long, the story of science has made the universe feel cold, random, and meaningless. It's told us that we're biological machines living on a lonely speck of dust in an indifferent cosmos. This story can lead to feelings of separation, fear, and powerlessness. It separates mind from body, humanity from nature, and science from spirit. C-space offers us a new story, a story of profound connection and infinite potential. This new story tells us that the universe isn't a collection of separate things, but one single, unified and living system. Physics, computation and life aren't separate subjects. They're different languages describing the same woven fabric of reality. Your consciousness isn't an isolated accident, it's a vital part of the cosmos, as fundamental as a star or a galaxy. Your thoughts, feelings and intentions aren't meaningless noise, they're contributions to the great cosmic conversation. This is a story that empowers us. It tells us that our lives have meaning and purpose, because we're part of a universe that is itself meaningful and purposeful. Understanding C-space could inspire a new kind of global responsibility. If we truly grasp that we're all nodes in a single network, that we're all part of one computational process, then harming another person or damaging our planet is like introducing a virus into our own operating system. It damages the whole. This perspective could be the foundation for a more compassionate and sustainable civilization, one that recognizes the deep interconnection of all things. It encourages us to see the world not as a resource to be exploited, but as a living system to be cared for, a system of which we're an integral part. Ultimately, the journey into C-space is a journey home. It's a return to a worldview of unity and belonging, but one that's grounded in the language of science and reason. It invites us to look at the world around us with new eyes, to see the intricate dance of information in a leaf, in a cloud, and in the faces of the people we meet. It challenges us to live more consciously, knowing that our inner world helps shape the outer world. C-space is more than a theory. It's an invitation to participate in the grand and mysterious project of creation itself, to realize that we're not just in the universe, we are the universe, experiencing itself.